So you may have had to make a really difficult decision, in the moment, okay? And I think that maybe you sort of like knew that this was a decision you would need to make at some point, but I think that you thought like, oh, I've already made my choice. But it's something that like I feel like something happened and you had to decide on the fly, like, okay, which am I gonna choose? And you had to pick. And I think, okay, if you're seeing this, you picked the right one. And I think it was like hard to do. I think it was like painful in the moment or like scary or something like that. Um, but you did the right thing. So it could be something to where like, you know, you're like getting to know someone new. Maybe things are still up in the air with them, but everything's going like perfectly. And you deeply, deeply in your gut, like, no, like this is like could be endgame. But then, you may have had like an ex that you weren't completely over. You're still holding out hope for, whatever. You still like care for something. And then maybe they like asked to meet up, or you know what I mean? Or like, I don't know, propose to you, Jesus, something. And you had to in the moment be like, okay, am I going to pick the past, okay, or am I going to take a chance and go with this new opportunity that not entirely certain where it's going to lead, but I have a really great feeling about this. And I'm getting that like you chose the new thing and that was the right thing to do. I'm also getting that like you may have thought or anticipated that there was going to be some severe or drastic fallout for a decision that you made, and there isn't. If anything, it like, this is going to be like super niche or whatever, but like I'm getting that like a decision that you made like broke like an entity attachment off of somebody. It could have been like whatever you did caused an ego death in somebody that it needed to cause an ego death for. And that was like almost like what your guys' like soul contract was. Someone taking you for granted, you healing through that, learning your worth, choosing yourself, moving on from them, and officially cutting it off and like definitely moving on. And in that, you moving on, it's like, oh, they awaken to your actual value. They realize, oh wow, I was actually playing the victim the whole time, you may see like this could manifest in like, yeah, if it's like a romantic thing, you choosing a new person and then you witness like your ex actually like getting their shit together or whatever, like you know someone who's very like a brain rot core type of person, and then they actually are like starting to read books, and you're like, oh my god, okay, like that doesn't mean you need to like go back to them. Don't double back on your decision. This needed to happen. Like you needed to cut them off so that they could grow. Like it was essential. If you stayed in their life, it was going to do both of you a disservice, because they were never going to ever have that moment where they were like pushed to evolve, and like I'm getting that like not everybody who wrongs you is like some terrible terrible person. Like I'm getting this energy of like, and some of them deserve the karma that they get, but some people like, have potential to be better. Like even people in this collective, right, we haven't always been perfect, and I think it's sort of like a lie and very like fake and hypocritical to act like, oh, you know um just because we are like leaning on this like higher path, that we've never made a mistake, that we've never hurt anybody, that we've never done anything wrong ever. Like that's delusional, okay? It doesn't make any sense. It's unrealistic. So obviously everybody who actually like takes accountability for their past actions and is willing to do the work deserves an attempt at redemption. Like that's kind of what that means. Like, oh, as long as you like repent or whatever, you can heal. That doesn't just mean like giving like a half-assed apology when you go to church, or just thinking that you can do whatever you want, and as long as you go to confession, you're absolved of your sins or whatever. That's not how that works, and that's just like a delusion, okay? That means like you acknowledge what you did, and then you actually do the inner work to be like, okay, why was I doing this? What is the source? Like why? Like what is the source of this? How can I weed it out, and how can I like counteract it and like fill in that like blank empty space with something that's actually going to like help me be a better person moving forward, so I don't repeat those mistakes in the past. And that also looks like not being a hypocrite, okay? So I'm getting that like, okay, it could be like, again, like somebody that you like walk away from, okay? You had to do it in order to shatter their ego so that they could become a better person, so that they can have a chance to also do something good, for humanity, okay? And hold on. So yeah, so I'm getting that like this is especially, and if this hasn't happened yet and you're like, so I guess this could be predictive or whatever. So if you know that you're approaching something where you need to make a rough choice, I'm getting that it's not going to happen the way that you think it is. It's going to be like in the moment. It's going to be something like, oh, you know, it's going to be something like you get a text from a new person and a past person, and they both ask to see you at the same time, and you have to pick one. Or like, if they're both new people and you know one of them is more like toxic, but they're like appealing to some like older sense of like, I don't know, excitement or whatever, versus the one who's like the safe option, but they are genuinely like gonna take care of you. um you know it's like, I don't know, it's giving that like you're not going to be able to like play the field or like play the, like be on the fence. You're going to have to like in the moment and like make it clear to both parties, I guess, by your actions, I guess, who you choose. Okay. And I'm getting that like it could be something as like very simple as like declining a phone call with somebody that you are getting to know, and that could completely like destabilize, like it's giving like, okay, you choose to accept a phone call from somebody new despite like you're like, I don't know if I'm ready for something, I'm, blah blah blah, but you decide to go for it and do it anyway. And that call like changes the trajectory of your life, you know, and you don't see what's happening on their end of things, them having that phone call with you could actually lead them to making a decision to reject their ex and like, lock in with you, to where you guys can actually like progress and stuff like together, right? Especially if you're mirroring each other and that's happening. I'm also, this message is all over the place today because I haven't been channeling on here for a while, so it's just a lot coming through. But if it's like a romantic thing, I'm getting that like you may keep seeing stuff about like this new person isn't your usual type. That doesn't mean they're not like fine. That doesn't mean they're not attractive. That just means your usual type could have been like kind of like a hobo sexual type or something. Not necessarily. They could just be like I don't know. If you're always into like I don't know, like it's giving like somebody being, like you're like growing up or whatever, or you're maturing, and your type has always been, I don't know, like a boyish type of like skater boy type, or someone who was like very, I don't know. It's just giving a bit of like boyish, more like immature energy. Like you're graduating from your type being like the childish one who like needs you to baby them, to finding someone who like wants to baby you, you know what I mean? It's also giving like, if you're somebody who's always dated like lanky dudes or whatever, something like that, and then like your new person is like buff and like big as hell or whatever, like in the best way, and you could be a little like intimidated or scared of your new person, like because they could be like physically like again, they could be like built like a wrestler, and you're used to dealing with people who are kind of like built like Timothy Chalamet. Like, no shade to him, I adore him, okay? But it's just giving that like if you've always had a type, in the way that like you've kind of like noticed a trend in regards to everybody you've been like attracted to or like dated or even like been in a situationship with, it's like this like new person is a completely different energy, because it's showing the juxtaposition between like what you wanted or what you thought you wanted versus what you like actually need, and what's like a perfect match for you. And they may not be something that you either ever thought you could pull, which is kind of silly, but like maybe you thought you never could even like pull somebody like that, or like, I don't know, some of you could have been like afraid of, like you could have had like a really sort of like misguided perception about like, oh, these people are like meatheads or something like that. And it could be the opposite if you were somebody who's like, was always like, oh, I'm only dating somebody who's like a gym rat, or I can only date somebody who's built, and then now you're like giving people who are like, you know who may just be more like slim built a chance, and then that's like the love of your life, right? So in general, the decisions that you're making, make sure that they are aligned with your heart and not made from a fear-based place. Don't hold on to stuff from the past, because all the new stuff that's coming in is like things that are like supporting your next like dream. Like, I'm getting that like the things that are coming into your life are basically like leading to the manifestation of your mood board, baby. So don't, okay, just follow the old brick road, okay?